in the dusty streets of Washington, D.C. The new posse rides in, led by the chief lawman Donald Trump with his steely resolve and determination. He is hell-bent on returning our nation back to her former glory. Beside him, J.D. Vance, the sharp-eyed, quick-witted right-hand hombre, is there to help him make America great again. Elon Musk, the tech-savvy inventor and steadfast champion of free speech, has plans to cut out the political pork that plagued our land. RFK Jr., the truth seeker, and Tulsi Gabbard, the fearless warrior, are determined to expose the lies the deep state has sold it for half a century. Then there's Russ Vought, the iron-willed regulator who will make sure President Trump's Agenda 47 is carried out and has the funds it needs to be successful. Pete Hegseth, the battle-hardened patriot, fights to defend the values that built this country. Together, they aim to cleanse the capital of its corrupt varmints, to uproot the deep state, and to restore justice to a land long overrun by shadowy outlaws.
No, make no mistake. It's not revenge he's after. It's a reckoning.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Today's April 1st, April Fools. April Fools. Hopefully y'all didn't get tricked today. It is April 1st, 2025. Shout out to everybody catching this on the live. If you're catching this on the live, come on in, come on in. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section down below. And also, if you're catching this on the replay, you can simply just type in replay in the comment section. And then also you'll see timestamps down below after this video is uploaded. After the live, you can jump back and forth through the stories and topics and things like that. But yeah, ideally, I want you to watch the whole thing. So we're rocking today. We're rocking. Today's Tuesday. Hopefully everybody had a good day today. Before we jump on in, I want to give a huge shout out to the moderators in the chat. Shout out to the moderators in the chat. And then I want to give a huge shout out to everybody catching this on the live. I got to come up with a better clap because the clap, it starts off kind of lame and then it gets high on the tempo. I got to get a clap sound. Anyways, I'm going to give a shout out to some folks that are in the live, my mind in the chat. What's going on, Patrick Kennedy? I think Patrick Kennedy's heading to bed. Shout out to Patrick Kennedy. Finding Dory in the house. Stacy, Keith, what's going on? Moon Gem. Shout out to Moon Gem. Catherine, what is going on? Stacy in the house. LJ, what is up? What is up? Yeah, LJ writes it is a gorgeous day in Las Vegas. 67 degrees and sunny. Little bit of wind. Nothing too crazy, though. Absolutely gorgeous out. How was everybody's day today? My day was filled with meetings, driving, and all this other good stuff. Good night, Patrick Kennedy. See you later. Catch you on the replay, my man. Going good. April Fools. I remember I used to love April Fools. I used to love doing tricks. I used to love pulling pranks. Actually, little side note, when I was a kid, not even a kid, when I was in high school, I used to carry around a camcorder. And when I was in high school, the camcorder was pretty big. Probably something like, oh, you can't see it, but something like up there. It was pretty big. A handheld camcorder with the tapes in it. And I used to document everything. It was fantastic. Oh, I don't know why I went there. Anyways. It's pretty chill. Only got fooled once. There you go. Hypothetically speaking, I really think Maxine Waters would make a great president. She advocates peace over all things. Ah!
Another one.
Got him. Oh, Terry, what is going on? What is going on? When I went to high school, no cell phone or video cams, but we had big old boom boxes and smoking areas. Yeah. We had the smoking areas too. They were under the bleachers. Under the bleachers. Anytime, not recess, but lunch, all the smokers would go underneath the bleachers. And then cell phones came out. I know I had a pager. I think I had a pager for a short period of time. I think I only had enough money to pay for it 1 month of service. But I still rock the pager though. And cell phone, the cell phone that was out, I think in high school, it was the Nokia. The Nokia, the big brick Nokia. Yep. We had metal detectors at my school too. I went to school in a rough area. We used to smoke in the boys' bathroom when I was in school. Yeah, they used to do that too. I was 35 years old and I got my first device. It was a flip phone. Terry, I didn't know you were that old. Or Tyson, she said, Terry says, Tyson, I didn't know you were that old. I'm not old. I'm seasoned. I'm young. I was lucky all my stupid wasn't captured on the intro web. Yep. All right. Let's shout out to everybody catching this on the live, by the way. Thanks for rocking with me on the live. So today is April 1st, April Fool's Day. But what's coming out of DC isn't crazy bizarre. Actually, it is. April Fool's. It's so bizarre. It's dystopian. And it's absolutely off the rails. Even The Onion said, you got to tone it down a little bit. But this is not satire, what we're going to get into today. It is actually real life. This is Trump 2.0 era, and it's moving at breakneck speed. First up, we're going to talk about Cory Booker. He's still talking. I don't know if he's still talking right now. This man has been filibustering the Senate floor for 24 hours straight. No bathroom breaks, no meals, just pure, uncut, highly caffeinated grandstanding. Some say he's trying to set the record. Others say he's trying to delay Trump's latest agency shutdowns. Either way, Cory, blink twice if you're dehydrated, my man. Meanwhile, Trump's resurrecting cascade continues. The institution of museums and library services, the people that keep books and culture alive, just saw an 80% in their staff put on administrative leave. Those agents showed up. The acting commissioner was sworn in, and now it's checkout time for the bureaucracy. RFK. We're going to jump into some RFK news. He's not just sipping the same old swamp water Kool-Aid that everybody else is. He's actually chugging it. He announced 20,000 layoffs at HHS, collapsing 28 divisions into 15 and rebranding it into the Administration for Healthy America. Maha, baby. On the labor front, Trump banned collective bargain agreements for federal workers. Unions are suing, of course, but let's just keep it 100. If you need a union rep to keep your job in the administration, you're probably halfway out the door. And over at the FDA, the tobacco division got vaporized. Top official was offered a new gig in Alaska, which is political lingo for pack yo ish and get the F out. And while you thought it couldn't get any weirder, we got Elon Musk baby mama drama. His baby mama, alleged baby mama, went nuclear and went public with his $2.5 million paternity battle. $2.5 million. Musk says he doesn't even know if it's his kid. And honestly, a DNA test, the only DNA test I care about, is the one that he has running the Congress's mysterious wealthy bank accounts. And finally, Rep. Jasmine Ghetto Crockett is back in the news. She decided to have another meltdown again, delivering another race-baiting, profanity-laced tirade that backfired harder than a Prius on nitrous. So we got everything. We got government purges, billionaire baby mama drama, Senate floor, filibuster, marathons, museum agencies being turned into ghost town. And this is not just an ordinary April Fool's Day. Let's jump in. Cory Booker. I don't know if he's still talking. Let me know in the chat down below if he's still talking. He might just talk until Friday. Cory Booker nears 24 hours, giving a speech on the Senate floor. He holds the record for the second longest Senate speech. Apparently, he has not eaten or left the chamber. What is going on with this guy? What is going on with this guy? I saw this. I saw he was trending. I'm like, golly, what is up with this guy? Listen.
I will tell you. This Constitution has saved my life. It made my life because people marched to make real on the promise of our democracy. People bled to make real on this democracy. When some people told us that this Constitution didn't apply for us, this body, Republicans in America stood up and said, no, President Johnson, we're going to do amendments. We saw the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment would guarantee my ancestors finally full citizenship in the United States of America and the protections of the Constitution. I am here in this body because of past generations that fought to uphold the Constitution, not because the Constitution was real to them, but because they brought reality and hope and love and promise to the Constitution. They were Americans that said, like Langston Hughes, America never was America to me, but I swear this oath, America will be.
It reminds me of, I don't know if you guys ever had this situation, but if you break up with somebody and they're like, why? Why are you breaking up with me? I am the best person that ever happened to you. And they go on for 4 hours. 4 hours. And you're like, yo, I'm still breaking up with you. Like, this is done. This is finito. This is why they have a 20-something% approval rating. Can we sign a petition? Can we sign a petition that Cory Booker drug test? This guy is going on for 24 hours. Doesn't he have anything better to do? He started his speech at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Monday and is still. Let me know in the chat if he's still speaking right now. This is crazy. It says it is apparent that Booker is trying to break the record for the longest Senate speech. Held the original speech was the record was from 1957. This guy is absolutely trying to stay relevant. I am here right now in this body doing the things that I need to do. Here's Terrence Williams on this.
I will not stand for another American to lose their health care for a billionaire. I will not stand for another veteran who's dedicated to stopping the suicide of other veterans to lose their job. I won't stand for the air quality in my community to be made worse because they're letting polluters pollute more. I won't stand for the collective assault on the Constitution by a man who even the highest judge in our land, a Republican-appointed judge, said stop threatening and bullying other branches of government. When is it going to be enough? My voice is inadequate. My efforts today are inadequate to stop what they're trying to do. But we, the people, are powerful. We are strong. We have changed history. We have bent the arc of the moral universe. And now is that moral moment again. It's the moral moment again. God bless America. We need you now. God bless America. If you love her, if you love your neighbor, if you love this country, show your love. Stop them from doing what they're trying to do for almost 20
He did this for
hours.
24 hours.
We have laid out what they're trying to do. 20 hours. I want to stand more, and I will.
Cory, y'all, the Academy Award goes to Cory Booker. Boy, what the hell was that, Cory?
Is he still going, chat? Let me know if he's still going. Oh, man. I don't know what timeline we're living in. This guy, 20-something hours talking on the Senate floor. This tirade. This guy. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Key and Peele. I can't play it because it's copyrighted. But Key and Peele, the angry interpreter. This is what Cory Booker reminds me of. But a way lower budget version of the angry interpreter from Key and Peele. Check it out. It's you can check it out online. It's through Comedy Central. Key and Peele, the angry interpreter. That's what Cory Booker. Is he still ranting away? Is he still ranting away? Let me know in the chat. Oh, man. He stopped at 25 hours. He stopped at good for him. You know what? He deserves a hamburger after that. He deserves a piece of cheesecake after that. 25 hours. Was there a point to it? Or was he just ranting? This is ridiculous. Oh, man. Let me jump into the comments. Really, stopped after 25 hours. You have to be on drugs to do that nonstop. Yeah, I think so. I think so, Catherine. Can he whine any louder? RJ or LJ writes. Man, he's such a wacko. He's April Fools. Ted S. writes, hello, White House. I think we found who owned the lost bag of cocaine. He was like, I'm going to go up there for 30 minutes. I'm going to go up there for 30 minutes. 25 hours later. Oh, boy. I haven't seen this interview yet with Susie Wiles. She was on with Lara. She's basically the one of the one of number 47's advisors. And she was on with Laura. And we might jump around on this interview, but I thought this was an interesting one. I haven't seen this yet, so let me jump into this.
So thank you for sitting down here with me.
First and probably only.
It seems like everything is running smoothly. And I wonder, from your perspective as White House Chief of Staff, do you find that to be the case? And are you responsible for some of that?
You know, the first month we were here, everybody was so thrilled to be here, euphoric about where we were and having won the election and having the president back. Now we're into the time where it's real work. It's really long hours. It's a slog to get his agenda accomplished. I think everybody here that was in the first administration, and they're probably about half and half, brings a maturity and a perspective that they didn't have in 2016. So it's less about a person and more about a mindset, and people, starting with the president, being so comfortable and so sure of what we want to do and accomplish. So it's less about anybody, me or anybody else, and more about a team that really believes in the mission and the man.
Well, let me ask you about the man, President Trump. Do you remember the first time you met him?
I do. Crazy, you know, you don't expect this from that, but a mutual friend asked me to go to New York and meet him, and I did in late 2015. He was very interested in Florida and what I thought his candidacy would look like there. In 16, we had a great conversation, and then about a month later, or a little bit longer, he said, "I'm putting my Florida team together. Would you like to be the co-chair of Florida?" Here I am.
I imagine that a successful 100 days here, first 100 days at this White House, and overall the first 2 years is going to be very impactful for the midterms and the 28 election.
We start with knowing that we have a very short time span. This 18 months is our time frame. 100 days, certainly 6 months, a year, and 18 months are our sort of benchmark. The president came to the office knowing exactly what he wanted to do. He had 4 years to think about his agenda and what he maybe didn't do as well as he wanted to or didn't accomplish fully in the first term. So he was ready to hit the ground running, and it was our job to try to keep up. We know where our direction is. We know, we know who True North is. And every day, all day, every day, 7 days a week, that's what we're trying to get accomplished.
Well, you are the first woman to ever.
They're working around the clock to get Donald Trump's agenda going. And it's a huge shift from 2016. You know, when he entered after he won 2016, he knew nobody in Washington, made some poor staffing decisions and things like that. It seems like this time he has his head down and he's getting to work like Kamala Harris. Not like Kamala Harris, but he's actually getting to work because we know what Kamala Harris does when she puts her head down.
In the role of White House Chief of Staff.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. I don't think most people imagine that, but
I didn't.
How does that feel?
It doesn't feel any different to me than anything else. I mean, I don't think I was the first woman to lead a Republican presidential campaign. I don't think I was. And when the president asked me to be his chief of staff, I didn't know that would be the case here. I just keep doing what I think is right, keep working as hard as I can, and it's working for me.
Did you have any reservations about taking this position?
No, I knew how much I didn't know, and that was my concern. Can I learn it fast enough? Can I do this job well enough to be worthy of it? And I think that's what keeps you on steroids. That's what keeps you working so hard and so fast. I didn't have a reservation, but you wouldn't be human if you didn't say you didn't have a little fear.
People want to know about you, Susie. Tell us who
I'm
you
a mother.
are.
I'm a grandmother. I come from a place where I really believe in the country. Like all of us, I've evolved in my philosophy of government. My politics have evolved over time. I was, for most of my career, what we think of as like an establishment Republican. Checked the box, didn't really pay much attention to what the candidate stood for, worked for whoever was sort of next in line. And then Donald Trump came along, MAGA came along. It's a whole different way of looking at the way our nation needs to move forward and grow.
What made you gravitate towards this lifestyle? Because, you know, it is fast paced, it's cutthroat, it's very tough to survive in the world of politics.
I didn't start out life thinking I would do this. And frankly, I stayed home in Jacksonville, Florida when my kids were growing up so I could be a mom. And when they left home, a couple of people said to me, wouldn't you like to do this on some sort of a national scale? And that was about the same time that I got that call from Donald Trump. So I've been in politics and government virtually my whole life, and just sort of gravitated and graduated to this over the last several years. If you are in Trump world, you are hyper competitive. You want to win. You want people to think what you think and believe what you believe, and mold the country in the way you think best for us, but also for our kids and our grandkids. And so I think that's what kind of keeps me in it. That's what got me in it. That's what keeps me in it. And so I may be quietly competitive, but I'm still competitive.
Oh, I saw it throughout the course of the campaign. And I think people noted the change. There was a slight change in the president.
Hold on.
And the lawfare, having been the leader of the free world, having had an assassination attempt, he's a different person than he was. So I really don't think that any one person changed him. I think life experience and who he is changed him. I think he's
Donald Trump's been through so much adversity, and he still stays calm as a cucumber. I don't know where that came from, but I didn't know cucumbers were calm, but he stays calm. He stays cool in the heat of the moment. How freaking cool was not cool, but when he got up and did fight, I was getting crazy text messages at that rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, when he got clipped with the bullet. And a lot of people were like, that's it. He won, hands down.
better leader now. So I don't know that I had anything to do with that, but I think the country benefits from it.
You have very famously sort of tried to take a role out of the spotlight. You have avoided cameras. We all know that. Even the night that President Trump won the election on November 5th, he tried to call you up and you said, I don't want to go up there.
Susie likes to stay sort of in the back, let me tell you. The ice maiden, we call her the ice maiden.
You actually come from a famous background because your father, Pat Summerall, was a very famous football player, sportscaster, and you kind of lived through that growing up. So how did that impact the Susie Wiles who we see here today?
I'm going to jump.
Of the 50s and early 60s and a little child. In those days, the girls didn't always get to do what the boys got to do, and they maybe were treated differently by their parents. I was not. Everything my brothers got, I got. I was encouraged in the same way they time. I've been with him long enough that we have a pretty good, easy thing edge to make sure I.
Do you remember the toughest thing you've ever had to tell him?
2020 election. Coming to him after the 2020 election in 21 and telling him that what he thought was the circumstance wasn't, which is how I got into all this. He said, well, can you fix it? But he's such a resilient person and he's seen so much. It's very hard to surprise him.
This is not your first time in a White House.
Right.
You were here under Ronald Reagan.
I was, as a baby. And it's amazing what you don't appreciate as a person that young here. I remember seeing a lot that was going on. I was involved in everything. I did scheduling, but I didn't appreciate where I was. I do now. It's vastly different. And I remember those days, so I make sure the young people here get to experience all there is about working here. There's something every day, every night, and all these people working so hard should experience that. And the president wants that too.
Let me ask.
Donald Trump and the team is working their butt off. Doge is working their butt off. The entire administration is working their butt off. As soon as we're off this live, I'll place a link for the description or for the full interview of this, if you guys want to check it out, in the description down below. Susie Wiles resembles my grandma Viola. That's super cute. I like that. Wiles is grounded and a good choice for White House Chief of Staff. Amen to that. So we got the Wisconsin votes stop at 8, presumably. We'll see how long it takes them to count the votes. Susan Crawford up 53%. Brad 46.9%. Just heads up, those of you that aren't in the chat. Elon did an interview on the 5. Great interview. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. That's actually gonna be on my my watch list later tonight. All right. Local libraries and museums face uncertainty. How many of you guys still have a library card? I don't. I want to know in the chat. Let me know in the chat who still has a library card. Nearly all employees in federal agencies supporting museums and libraries put on administrative leave. Earlier this month, President Trump, number 47, signed an executive order calling for the agencies as well as 6 other government entities to reduce to minimum presence. A few weeks ago, employees of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, was spotted at the IMLS building in Washington, D.C. to attend the swearing in of the new acting commissioner. Betty says, I do, but I haven't been to the library in 2 years. Yeah, I think the last time that I went to the library, actually, you know what? I take that back. Last time I went to the library was about 2 years. Yeah, 2 years ago also. I went to the library specifically just to get a room because at the time I was in between offices. And I just went to the library because you can rent a room and work out of there. But their Wi-Fi like absolutely sucked. So it was super difficult to get work done.
Trump has signed an executive order to cut the Institute of Museum and Library Services. It's a federal agency that helps fund libraries and museums.
Oh, it's a deep concern. I think it's incredibly short-sighted of him. We teach our kids, they get ideas and ways of expressing themselves. They get a sense of the world through libraries and museums in a way that they don't otherwise. And it's for everybody.
The Monterey Public Library may face some challenges because of these cuts.
There's about 40 cents per resident goes towards IMLS. It's a pretty small part of the budget, but it comes back to the users here through the California Libraries and Services and Technology Act, the state library. So we get about $15 to $16 million annually back to the state. And that's funding that comes back to help support ebooks, helps to support lunch in the library, helps to support other programs here that otherwise we will have to pick up locally.
Not only libraries, but museums could also be impacted.
Our Wheelie Mobile, a lot of community members are familiar with it. It's out in the community at fairs and festivals. That was actually an IMLS grant that was funded. And so for the past 10 years, we've been able to have that vehicle out. So there's programs that are funded to other museums and to us at times that really have impact on the community.
That's why.
So this isn't just affecting libraries, it's also affecting museums. My mind says he was at the library a few days ago. Awesome. Yeah, I haven't, besides 2 years ago, that was the last time that I went to a library to rent a room. I did notice that they had some new technology, and they were actually at the library close to the house. They were growing stuff inside the library, like vertical gardens, which was actually pretty cool. And they had a collaborative thing with underprivileged schools to show them how to grow fruits and vegetables in vertical gardens. So that was pretty cool. But I know some of these places are significantly overstaffed. You know, I don't know. Moonjen says, I'm so grateful for Trump's team. My mind, I went to the library 3 days ago. Our new library cost millions and was condemned for black mold. Yikes. Yikes. Clay went to the library 2 weeks ago. I love going to the library, Moonjen says. I have a library card. I live 2 miles away from one. I use their computers. Awesome. Yeah. I know a lot of folks use the computers or use the computers at the library. Maybe, or me going to the library is like an atheist going to church. What is up, Rob? Yeah, they have. Yeah, LJ. Yeah, absolutely. They got the 3D printers too. Pretty freaking cool.
Library services. New at 6, Kodichi Lauren spoke with the director of Madison Public Libraries on how the cuts could impact the services they provide.
The Madison Public Library has 9 locations spread out across the city, offering more than 4,000 programs each year. But now some of those programs could be in jeopardy following President Donald Trump's executive order to cut or eliminate the federal agency that helps fund libraries.
Thinking about the long-term impact that this would have.
Tana Elias is the Madison Public Library director. She says she was not surprised of the potential cuts, but worried for the people they serve.
Last year, we had 1.3 million visitors and over 3 million checkouts.
While the libraries do not receive funding directly from IMLS, Elias says they still could see some ripple effects to services. For example, the magazine articles and newspapers that are available throughout the state.
We would lose access to that, which means each of the local public libraries would have to pay for those if that funding disappears at the federal level.
Technology could also be in jeopardy.
The Wi-Fi and the computers that we have, some of that is underwritten by federal money.
Elias fears cuts could further widen the gap of disparities.
55 million has come to Wisconsin since 1997 when IMLS began giving funds. So that's a huge impact for our state.
In the meantime, Elias hopes people contact their local representatives to voice their concerns.
Well, I think it's really important to know where all of our funding comes from and to think about having a plan B.
Reporting in Madison.
Stacy mentioned in regards in the chat, she said the card catalog. I don't know I know it took them a long time to move away from the card catalog and then go to digital technology and digital cards. Stacy also writes, I'd rather go to a museum. Yeah, I agree with that. I prefer museums over a library, but I know the library does have some beneficial programs. In regards to the cuts here, though, they're stating that, hey, most of the stuff is going to be like magazines and some technology. I know a lot of students in some of these underprivileged areas, rely on the library like as a source for them to either go and do their homework and access computers and maybe even get away from their situation at home. So we'll see how this kind of unfolds. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. Drop it down in the comment section or in the chat down below. Catherine writes, I haven't been to a library in a long time, actually. If I want to read, I just buy a book. Yeah. Rob writes, I haven't been to a library since grade school. That's about 35 years ago. Terry, we had 3D printers too. My son used them. Yeah, those 3D printers are pretty cool. And actually, I know some of the programs here in Las Vegas, like the historic West Side in Las Vegas, which I was doing some work with. They're underprivileged, lower demographic areas, and they built this beautiful building in there to give resources through a federal grant to provide resources and technology for students in the area, which was actually really cool. And then you taught the kids about entrepreneurship, how to use computers, how to use, things like this that were on. And that was more hands-on than the library, just in my personal opinion. Rob writes, Trump is the best. Can't wait to see him get a third term. Oh, yeah. Catherine, the library is a museum at this point. Yeah. Oh, man. Anyways, all right, let's see what else we got. HHS lays off 10,000 health employees, health and disease expert employees in a massive purge directed by RFK. RFK doubling down on his HHS layoffs here. Be sure to smash the like button if you kindly would. It does help with the YouTube algorithms. Thousands of government health workers were fired on Tuesday in the latest massive crackdown on red tape by Donald Trump and Elon Musk with Doge at the Department of Human Services. Here is because I want to give you guys both sides of this. So since they're this is from CNN. We all know how much we love CNN. Then we'll jump into RFK.
About what these cuts may mean?
We're hearing particularly from Democrats in the Senate Health Committee. Edward Markey putting out a statement today saying, quote, this evisceration of workers isn't just a restructuring. He says it's a catastrophe in the making that'll disrupt services, violate federal law, and deny the livelihoods of workers who dedicate themselves every day to protecting public health, all to pay to take breaks for billionaires while American families pay the price of illness and death. He says we will not let this stand. And Phil, we heard a similar message from Bernie Sanders, also on the Health Committee, who pledged to fight these cuts. So we'll have to see what Democrats in Congress can really do about this.
Anything from Capitol Hill, Democrats in particular, about what these cuts may mean?
So we're going to jump into RFK right now. RFK just announced that he's doubling HHS layoffs from 10,000 to 20,000, consolidating 28 divisions into 16 and renaming the agency the Administration for a Healthy America.
Buddy, I'd like to share with you a paradox that I've encountered here in Washington, D.C. as the new Secretary of HHS. Our department is filled for the most part with competent, conscientious public servants, and yet the agency has been inefficient as a whole. Over the past 4 years during the Biden administration, HHS's budget increased by 38%, and its staffing increased by 17%, but all that money has failed to improve the health of Americans. In fact, the rate of chronic disease and cancer increased dramatically as our department has grown. Our lifespan has dropped, so Americans now live 6 years shorter than Europeans. We are the sickest nation in the world, and we have the highest rate of chronic disease. The U.S. ranks last among 40 developed nations in terms of health, but we spend 2 to 3 times more per capita than those nations. As secretary, I now understand why all this money is not improving our health. HHS is a sprawling bureaucracy that encompasses literally hundreds of departments, committees, and other offices. You know how bureaucracies work. Every time a new issue arises, they tack on another committee. This leads to tremendous waste and duplication, and worst of all, a loss of any unified sense of mission. The resulting pandemonium has injured American health and damaged department morale. When I arrived, I found that over half of our employees don't even come to work. HHS has more than 100 communications offices and more than 40 IT departments and dozens of procurement offices and 9 HR departments. In many cases, they don't even talk to each other. They're mainly operating in silos. Sometimes these sub-agencies work at cross purposes with each other. Some of these little fiefdoms, for example, are so insulated and territorial that they actually hoard our patient medical data and sell it for profit to each other. Instead of remedying the chronic disease crisis, perverse incentives have administrators checking boxes and grading their own homework while public health declines. A few isolated divisions are neglecting public health altogether and seem only accountable to the industries that they're supposed to be regulating. In one case, defiant bureaucrats impeded the secretary's office from accessing the closely guarded databases that might reveal the dangers of certain drugs and medical interventions. I have some good news, though. As part of President Trump's DOGE workforce reduction initiative, we're going to streamline HHS to make our agency more efficient and more effective. We're going to imbue the agency with a clear sense of mission to radically improve the health of Americans and to improve agency morale. We're going to eliminate an entire alphabet soup of departments and agencies while preserving their core functions by merging them into a new organization called the Administration for a Healthy America, or AHA. We have two goals. The first is obvious, to save the taxpayer money by making our department more efficient. And the second is to radically improve our quality of service. I want to promise you now that we're going to do more with less. No American is going to be left behind. Our key services delivered through Medicare and Medicaid, the FDA and CDC, and other agencies will enter a new era of responsiveness and a new era of effectiveness. We're going to consolidate all of these departments and make them accountable to you, the American taxpayer, and the American patient. These goals will honor the aspirations of the vast majority of existing HHS employees who actually yearn to make America healthy. 28 great divisions will become 15. The entire federal workforce is downsizing now, so this will be a painful period for HHS as we downsize from 82,000 full-time employees to around 62,000.
This is huge because, you know, a lot of these folks aren't going to work. They haven't been to work in forever. They've been milking the clock, not doing their job. 38% more employees, 75% less effectiveness.
We're keenly focused on paring away excess administrators while increasing the number of scientists and frontline health providers so that we can do a better job for the American people. We're going to streamline our agency and eliminate the redundancies and invite everyone to align behind a simple, bold mission. I want every HHS employee to wake up every morning asking themselves, what can I do to restore American health today? I want to empower everyone in the HHS family to have a sense of purpose and pride and a sense of personal agency and responsibility to this larger goal. We're going to save taxpayers nearly $2 billion a year, and we're going to return HHS to its original commitment to public health and gold standard science. I want this agency to be once again a revered scientific institution that once made HHS the envy of the world. I want everyone who works here to be proud of this agency, to be proud of their work, to feel a renewed inspiration and their own sense of responsibility for our success in restoring America to good health. Streamlining HHS is part of a shift to new priorities, especially ending the chronic disease epidemic with clean water, safe food, effective medicine, good science, radical transparency, and a healthy environment.
You know, with all those employees, and you would think that, hey, with all the budget that they had, you would think that they would have helped make America healthy again, but yet they coerced all these different chemicals into our food to make us sicker, less active, more addicted to sugars, more addicted to oils and all this other stuff. And I think this is a good move. Me personally, I think it's a great move. A lot of people are going to be upset because they're getting fired. Well, you haven't worked since 2020. You haven't been in the office since 2020. You haven't done ish since 2020. So, you know, do you even still really work here? Gina says they've been burning daylight. They all got to get fired. Yeah. Yep. So this is the initiative with RFK. He just announced that he's doubling the HHS layoffs, converting it, rebranding it. Maha, all the way. Jumping into some of these comments here. Let's see. Oh, man. We got some stuff rocking in the chat. Oh. Be sure to smash the like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Trump bans collective bargaining agreement for Fed workers. Union sues to block Trump from ending collective bargaining agreement for many federal workers. According to an article in Reuters, union representatives, 150,000 U.S. government employees filed a lawsuit on Monday seeking to block President Donald Trump from stripping hundreds of thousands of federal workers' ability to collect to the collective bargaining agreement with government agencies through unions. The White House did not immediately respond to this request or comment. The same day, Donald Trump issued an executive order that 8 federal agencies filed lawsuit against dozens of local union affiliates seeking to invalidate existing union contracts covering thousands of workers. Trump signed the executive order ending collective bargaining agreement rights for many agencies. White House ramped up its attacks on federal labor unions on Thursday by trying to strip all of the collective bargaining rights in the large chunk of government and the workforce.
Affairs now with an aggressive layoff plan. According to multiple sources, VA call center agents could be eliminated as the agency moves towards more automation. According to sources in the agency and on Capitol Hill, the cutbacks at the VA would also impact medical and healthcare support staff, administrative roles as well, and that would include HR personnel and some regional and central office staff. It's all part of the president's mass layoffs across the federal government. VA Secretary Doug Collins telling Fox News earlier this month the goal is to lay off 80,000 VA workers, representing nearly 20% of the workforce. Sources say the layoffs would come in waves starting in the next few months. The VA press secretary said they're trying to fix major problems and stressed no final decisions have been made. In the meantime, President Trump is taking aim at unions with an executive order aimed at severely weakening them. It ends collective bargaining for unions that represent more than 1 million federal employees. Impacted agencies would include the Departments of State, Defense, Justice, and Health and Human Services. The president citing a Civil Service Reform Act of 1978 as the authority for this action. The American Federation of Government Employees vows to challenge this in court. Similar lawsuits have been at least temporarily successful in reversing tens of thousands of federal layoffs. They've also blocked the Department of Government Efficiency from accessing sensitive Social Security info. Now, collective bargaining is the most important power unions have. Without it, their ability to protect members is limited.
You know, a lot of these call centers, a lot of this stuff is going to be replaced with AI. They're going to be replaced with a lot of, technology. And a lot of these folks, again, they haven't been reporting into work for a long time anyways. And a lot of these folks are just riding out until their retirement. I think all these government agencies need a huge overhaul. Because remember, AI, just in general, if you're a fan of AI or not, but it's coming. You can have an AI customer service rep direct you to the point of contact that you actually need. You don't necessarily need a front desk receptionist. You don't actually need somebody to answer the phone. You don't need somebody. You can have the AI or a system automatically send somebody a form to fill out in regards to their VA benefits or whatever the scenario is. This is great because this is evolving the way that the United States does business. For so long, when you think about this limestone mind on how they file retirement paperwork, I wasn't aware of this limestone mind for the retirement paperwork up until maybe about 4 months ago. And it's crazy to me to think that they still have files and files and files of cabinets in this limestone mine where they file retirement paperwork. In the interview with Elon Musk and the Doge team, they were talking about, hey, we are already scanning these documents and placing them into a universal computer system so anybody can access it. And it's not going to take 8 months to get the documents to complete. And this is creating more efficiency. And the more efficiency that we have, the better that we're able to do business. It seems like all this exposure with the Doge situation and all this other stuff, it's just exposing the deep inefficiencies in which we've already known have been occurring in government.
President's executive order trying to end collective bargaining rights for some federal agencies, union leaders in Maine say they're not backing down. President Donald Trump says collective bargaining enables federal unions to obstruct agency management and says this is dangerous to our national security. While police and firefighters are exempt, his executive order would impact the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, Togus VA Medical Center, and other federal workplaces in Maine. Union leaders see this as an attack on federal workers and says this takes away their ability to negotiate issues of workplace safety, pointing out that there are already rules in place preventing them from striking.
And it's just not true that these unions' collective bargaining rights in any way undermine national security. And I think it's important to support unions. I mean, I've always called myself a labor Democrat. And I'm just not going to ever support any effort to undermine these rights.
Congressman Jared Golden just introducing bipartisan legislation in an effort to nullify the president's executive order on this issue. For Maine's Total Coverage, I'm Kate McCusker.
What do you guys think about this? Drop it down in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think about this. I think the overhaul is great. You know, it's going to piss off a lot of people. A lot of people are going to be upset, but I think it's great. Just to create more efficiencies in the government, reduce the government spending all around in all alphabet agencies and everything. Let's give it a big overhaul, because if you look at it in totality as a government, if you look at government as in totality as a business, which it should be looked at as a business, no business could survive with the amount of debt that the United States has. So there is something not working in the system. There is bloat, there is excess spending, there is a lot of bull crap that is going on, and it is nice to see that somebody actually really cares and wants to do something about it. And I think if we have more efficiencies, long term, more people can have better benefits in totality. I'm not just talking about insurance benefits, but I'm just talking about benefits in general. Benefits, programs, and things like that allocated to the specific needs of the people. I think it's great. All right. We're going to jump into some lighter topics here. We got Elon Musk, baby mama drama. Elon Musk, what is this, like his 16th child, presumably. Elon Musk alleged baby mama lashes out. So apparently Ashley Sinclair sold her Tesla that Elon gave her after Ashley Sinclair filmed selling her $100,000 Tesla in effort to make up for the 60% cut that Elon made to our son's child support. Musk's response: I don't know if this child is mine or not, but I'm not against finding out. No court order is needed. Despite not knowing for sure, Elon has given Ashley Sinclair $2.5 million. Dude, not knowing that that's your child, giving this lady $2.5 million. That's wild. What's up, Steph? Steph in the house. Ashley Sinclair announced the birth of their son in February and named Musk as the child's father 5 months ago. Welcome the new baby. Bop, bop, bop. So she's been in the news. She sold her Tesla. She said she can't afford anything because the $2.5 million child support isn't enough. I don't know if the child's mine, Elon Musk said. Elon Musk finally addressed Monday afternoon. Conservative influencer Ashley Sinclair claims that he fathered a boy she gave birth to last fall. And he's, without a paternity test, this guy's given her $2.5 million.
I'm selling it because I need to make up for the 60% cut that Elon made to our son's child support.
Why do you think that he did that?
That's a great question for him.
You feel like he was sort of like vindictive against you in some way?
Yeah, that's his modus operandi when women speak out.
When was the last time that you spoke to him or tried to speak to him?
February 13th.
I think she's crazy.
How would you characterize the way that he's going about
You can check the stocks. I am. I'm not the only one.
We won't get you.
We're not going to get you.
So she goes on to sell her Tesla. If you guys remember back in February, Ashley Sinclair said, I want to keep this private. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, through a post that she did on X. She said, I want to keep this private. I want to make sure that, my baby and all this other stuff is private. And then immediately the next day, she goes on an interview. She wanted to keep it that private that she wanted to go on an interview. We all know that Elon Musk wants to populate the world and things like that. I have my different viewpoints on things like that, but hey, I can't stop somebody from doing what they want to do. She said, I'm selling it to make up for the 60% cut that Elon made to our son's child support. 60%. So she's getting $1 million something out of 2.5 before what she was getting. Catherine writes, she's a wacko. Yeah. I don't know. There were some text messages going back and forth with this lady. Laura Luma writes, gold digger, professional gaslighter. Ashley Sinclair was caught on camera outside of the ritzy Manhattan condo, paid for by her sugar daddy, Elon Musk, selling her $100,000 Tesla. She said she was gifted by Elon Musk during the romantic relationship. Elon Musk replies, I don't even know if the child is mine or not, but I'm not against finding out. No court order needed. Despite knowing for sure, I've given Ashley $2.5 million. I'm going to jump into some of these comments here. Catherine writes, she's a wacko. LJ, Elon's personal life is out of control. Do we have 5 baby mamas now? Yeah. If, he's taking care of the kids. I do agree with you, LJ. You said something right on the money there. You said you don't agree with his personal life, but you love what he's doing with the United States. Me too. I'm not a fan of what he's doing, but hey, the dude's saving government waste, fraud, and abuse. LJ, I like what Elon's doing for Trump, but his personal life is a wreck. Not only is his mind going a mile a minute, but Stephanie. Yep. His mind and all that other stuff is going a mile a minute.
Got him.
Oh. Let me jump here. She's a hoe. Hey, she saw an opportunity. She was reeling that dude in. She was reeling that dude in. She knew what Elon wanted to do. There were some text messages that came out earlier last year and said that she wanted to have his space babies and all this other stuff. She was just trying to get a bag. She was just trying to get paid. Yep, dirty, nasty opportunist. Yep. Not like he's not going to pay child support. I think everyone won in this arrangement. Yeah, absolutely. It's not a business deal. Oh, man. All right, we are going to jump into Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Ghetto Crockett was in the news again. Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Ghetto Crockett goes wild on a wild rant and immediately regrets it. Jasmine Crockett lit up the House Judiciary Committee hearing last week with a fiery rant defending the rule of law, only to have her own words turned against her in a few moments. During the hearing, she focused on the judicial overreach and the constitutional rule of courts. Crockett launched into passionate speech, blasting those who question and defy the judicial ruling.
Crockett.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate the speaker for admitting openly on the record that it is unconstitutional. But the concerns that I have are around the fact that we are sitting here pretending as if we all are looking out for the Constitution, yet we are coming from completely different angles. So let me go to Professor Shaw. To be clear, which branch of government is responsible for interpreting what is and what is not legal?
Well, the Supreme Court, the Article 3 judicial branch has the final word.
So the judiciary is who it is. So it's not the legislators.
You know, I'd say every branch has an obligation to interpret the Constitution. The final word comes from the courts.
From the courts. It's not the former speakers. It's not everyday people. It's not the president. I just wanted to make sure that we understood who it was that was responsible. And what is so frustrating for so many of the American people, the ones that are watching right now and otherwise, and the reason that they're outraged and scared is because what we see right now is a diminishing of all these institutions. Right now, we have a legislative branch that has decided that it intentionally would disregard their duties. They are not checking the president whatsoever. The only check that the American people have had thus far has been from the judiciary. And the judiciary isn't pulling this out of the sky. In fact, they are coming from basic reading of like the plain language of the Constitution for all of those that are constitutionalists when we start talking about things such as what birthright citizenship is. But one of the things that I want to make sure that I get to, because there are deeper implications if we go down this rabbit hole. Imagine the type of world where the president does whatever he wants to and no one can rein him in. It's a world that right now many people are afraid of. Let me put it this way. If Joe Biden would have done an executive order for abortion, despite what the Supreme Court said, that would have been a problem. Imagine if the state of Colorado kept Trump off the ballot and other states follow suit. That would have been a problem. Or imagine if Jack Smith ignored Eileen Cannon and with the help of an activist judge decided that he was going to prosecute the sitting president anyway. The problem that we have right now is that if we continue down this road, then we will not have a rule of law, because we have people that are currently serving and they're saying things like, ignore the judge's order. What it means to have law and order in this country is that you follow the order and you go through the appeals process, even if you dislike what the judge did. Thank you, and I yield.
And I'll yield back to
Yep.
Mr. Issa. Mr. Issa, you had a question for me, which I'll yield to you now if you want.
Now that there's no time left.
I'm
Thanks,
happy
Eric.
to entertain it.
You're good. You're good at that, but I'll take my own time. I'll recognize myself. And I'm going to note that when Miss Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC as we know her, filed articles of impeachment on Justice Thomas and Alito, Ms. Crockett was one of the co-sponsors along with Mr. Cohen, both members of this committee. It does seem interesting that when the shoe is on the other foot, everyone is self-righteous. And I think this is a good example. For the last 3 hours, I have had to listen to one side talking about impeachment as though it was the nature of this hearing. It is not. I keep looking at my friend, the late Henry Hyde, and remember that although he led the impeachment when it was necessary, he did so only during that time and then never mentioned it again in hearings. In fact, he was religiously able to focus on the hearing of the day. The hearing of today is really about the question of the future of the court's ability to do its job as intended. And I'm perfect.
They always keep bringing up the impeachment process. They always keep bringing it in. Bringing it in. Someone check those sleeves. She's taking office supplies, hiding the tissue. Jasmine Ghetto Crockett. How can she talk like that in Congress? She sounds so, you know, it's an act. It's an act. Gina, it's an act. She's a well-educated woman, and she's putting on this pandering act. Catherine writes, merely because they are there to interpret to the commander in chief. Yep. This female is so ghetto. It's despicable. Yeah, she's really leaning into the sister act. The sister act. That's what she's leaning into. She's just that's her flow. That's what she's looking to do. That's why she's looking to do it. It's wild to me. I love how she got checked at the end of that though. Oh, last topic of the day. And then I got to jump on out of here. FDA tobacco official is removed from his post. I don't have a clip for this one, but FDA tobacco official is removed from his post in the latest blow to health agency and leadership. FDA Administrator Chief Tobacco Regulator was removed from his post on Tuesday, part of the sweeping cuts of the federal workforce to have cleared out many of the nation's top experts overseeing food, drugs, vaccines, and products containing nicotine. The agency's tobacco director, Brian King, notified his staff via email. It is with heavy heart and profound disappointment that I have to share that I have been placed on administrative leave. Dozens of other employees of the FDA's Tobacco Center also received notices Tuesday morning. They were being dismissed, including entire offices responsible for drafting new tobacco regulations and setting policies. I know RFK is going after the marketing specifically. You know, they eliminated marketing in magazines for tobacco, but they're also planning to eliminate marketing with Big Pharma, which will be a huge move. His removal came just days after FDA vaccine chief Dr. Pete Marks was forced out, citing Health Secretary Services RFK support for vaccines, misinformation, and lies in his resignation letter. They're upset. Leadership vacuum comes as JFK moves to fire 3,500 FDA staffers and pushes ahead with his plans to scrutinize ultra-processed food, child vaccines, antidepressants, and long-established products. This is a good move. The wave departure means incoming FDA Commissioner Marty Marker, who was confirmed last week, inherits the agency without many of his top experts This is good. This is good news. Good news. Let me jump into the chat. Let me know what you guys think about FDA tobacco official being removed from his post. I think this is a great move. Let me jump into the chat, make sure that everybody got chatted up here. Attorney who purchased 2,200 puppies I bred had 400K in law school student loans pardoned. She had all that money for a dog. Sad. Biden ignored Supreme Court Justice Biden did not have any authority to give our tax dollars to pay off student loans to people who couldn't afford them. They were giving out student loans like candy. They just want those students to go in debt. Just my personal opinion. Thanks, Rob. LJ, 58% reporting. Thank you, LJ. I'll pop that on the screen right now. Thanks for keeping track of the Wisconsin. Pharmaceutical companies have only had ads on TV since the late 1990s. It seemed like forever. Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy because they pump those ads out like crazy. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw Candace Owens. Candace Owens was doing some interesting stuff with the RFK situation. I haven't dove into her series yet regarding RFK and those potential blackmail emails. I'll probably have the opportunity to dive into that this weekend, but it was just interesting, you know, with RFK's correspondence with Rabbi Shmuley and things like that. In 1997, the FDA eased restrictions allowing pharmaceutical companies to advertise prescription drugs directly to consumers on TV and other media. Clinton made drug ads legal. All the side effects. Yep. You know, to answer your question, Stace, I'm not 100% sure on her perspective on that, but I think her husband's Jewish. Candace is saying RFK is bending Democrat by bribery. Yeah, I started watching it a little bit, and it was interesting because they were talking about the RFK Sr. assassination. Ooh, Alex Jones responded to Candace. Okay, cool. I'll check that out tonight. All right, guys. I actually have to jump because I scheduled another meeting at 8 o'clock, but it's the only time that I have. Anyways, guys, I want to give a huge shout out to the moderators in the chat because without you guys, we already know how the moderators are. So give a huge shout out, give a huge kudos to all the moderators in the chat. Where's my cheers at? Here we go. Shout out to everybody catching this on the live. And then also, thank you, LJ, for the reporting. I'll pop it up on the screen real quick. Cool. Also, if you want to check out the Discord group link is in the description down below. You can connect with these individuals in the Discord group. Again, this is the best chat on YouTube because of the moderators. The moderators keep it locked in. So shout out to the mods. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. And then also, tomorrow is Wednesday. On Thursday, I'm going to test out a couple times for a morning show also. So Thursday, Friday, and then we'll roll it into the following week, and we'll test it out for about a week, see how the morning show goes and things like that. But we kind of already tallied up some times for the morning show, so I'm looking forward to catching you guys on the morning show. I will place the time. I will confirm the time by tomorrow evening's show. By tomorrow evening, I will have locked in a specific time for the morning time show. And then other than that, we'll still roll the morning time, and then we'll still roll the evening. I might push it up a little bit. I might push it up because I know you guys on the East Coast are a little later. So I might push it up like an hour, or maybe like an hour and a half, like 4:30 PST or 5, something like that. And we'll see how it rolls. But anyways, shout out to the mods. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys are absolutely epic, amazing, 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 amazing. Drop your comments down below. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay down in the comment section down below. Again, there'll be timestamps down there. Smash the like button, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, Moon Jen. Really appreciate you, Catherine. Also, Catherine, don't forget to email me. Drop your comments down below, smash the like button, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Truly appreciate each and every single one of you. Have a good night, guys.